You wonderful Life Path 9 person, welcome to your 2024 Numerology Tarot forecast with me, Raphael from Reydiant Reality. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining me. Okay, so I just want to say a massive thank you so much to all of you that supported me throughout 2023. For those of you that have been with me longer than that, you know you have my heart. And for those of you that checked in on these month by month, every 3 months, every 6 months, those of you that came back to give me those validations or those moments of, wow, Raf, this is how this showed up for me, or actually it was kind of like this, that it means the world to me, right? And I love the way that you guys kind of interact with me and the videos through the comments. So it really does mean a lot. Now, with that said, let's see what you're really here for, right? So the Life Path 9. So this year, this can absolutely be a massive year of expansion and growth. And it might also be a year where many karmic blessings and abundances find you. This is all the good that you've put out into the world already are now making their way back to you. I love this because it means that you're able to work with this year's energy probably better than most other people, right? What's interesting about 9 energy is it has a natural ability to fit in anywhere and everywhere, and with everybody that's present. This will serve you this year. That being said, you will need to be organized, disciplined, and focused. This is a year that requires you to be slick. It needs to look good, and it needs to be like, you need to be sharp as a tack this year, right? You can't fuck around. If you are a Life Path 9 and you're naturally, because you're ruled by Mars, so a lot of you tend to be quite disorganized and a little bit of erratic. No shade, honey, trust me, I've got a lot of 9 energy in my numerology numbers, so I fully am aware this is stuff that I have had to get under control over a lifetime, right? Especially if you're a business owner. Now, when it comes to love, this year, try not to focus too much on love, especially if you're single, right? And that's not to, like, if you're in a personal year 2 or a personal year 6, it's probably slightly different for you guys. And obviously make sure you check out your life path, your personal year number video. Those are up and out there already. They have been for a while. This is a year to enjoy and excel at being single. Have fun, play the field, live life to the fullest. This is a year to make single look fucking good, all right? This is a year to raise your love vibration by reveling in the glory of what it means to be yourself. That's how you attract the best partner for who you actually are. And this year, that's the vibration that you want to be putting out, right? If you're partnered, this is a year for luxury. Take the trip to the Maldives, go to the spa together, purchase those satin sheets, baby. Get your partner the expensive aftershave or perfume, whatever the case might be. This is a year for luxury, right? And so for those of you, specifically those of you that are parents and partnered, if you're in a marriage or a long-term commitment, this is a year, I'm not saying don't think about your kids, obviously, but what I am saying is, this is a year to prioritize your significant other. This is a year to say, actually, you know what? No, we're going to buy ourselves a decent car. Or, you know what? Actually, no, we're going on that one date night a month where we have a fancy dinner. This is a year to pamper yourselves. And I've said this, I've got a lot of sisters and brothers, and I've said this to them my whole life, even though I don't have any children myself. Happy people make better parents, right? They naturally do. And if you're not fulfilling yourself and your significant other, how are you going to be doing that for your family? You're not, right? So give the best to yourself so that you can give the best to others too. When it comes to your finances, this is a great year for money when it comes to you guys, but because you'll know how to use the energy of abundance that much more. The thing that you need to watch out for is that 9 nature, where it's kind of like you end up giving it all away, or where you go to extremes and you do that sort of hapless emotional spending thing that a lot of you can do. This is a year to celebrate your own abundance and to enjoy it. It's also a year to get serious about creating a lasting legacy of wealth for both you, yourself, but also for your loved ones. This might look like a pension, it might look like a property, it might even look like an investment portfolio. Whatever the case might be, this is the year for you to get to it. Now, when it comes to work, this is a year to be the boss, quite frankly, whether that's your your role or not, this is the year where you step into your boss mindset and badassery, right? If you work for others, you better show up and show them why you should be running the show, right? If you want that management position, you want that next level, if you've got a business, right, you need to learn very much to lead by example. You have to have your shit together and you need to be slick. Right? That's the word that I want you to say to yourself this whole year. If you're a life path 9, slick. It's got to be smooth like peanut butter, the expensive kind. You hear me? Okay, that's not my line, by the way. I wish it was. I stole it from one of the Peloton instructors. Ali, love, if you're watching, baby, Rafi loves you. When it comes to your health, if you can organize your life and your routines this year, your work and your work your healthcare and your health conscious approach into that, this should be a no-brainer that your health will be good. Where you have neglected your mental health, though, this could be a time where it kind of catches up with you. So get on top of it, right? If you have any small niggle, like when it comes to your mental health this year, get back to therapy. Even if you can only afford to go once every 2 months, once every 3 months, it's better than no months, right? Get back to it, or something that helps you really support your own mental health, right? If you've got any small niggles this year, no matter how small they are, look into them immediately, because the chances are your body is hinting at something a little deeper. This is a good year to play detective around your health, okay? So, and that's not to say you obsess about it and stress yourself and everybody else out about, well, you know, I've got this little rash on my elbow and I think I'm dying. Right, it's not a year to do that. What I am saying though is, when you have things that you're not used to or do show up randomly, go to a doctor, speak to somebody that is a healthcare professional in some regard, and kind of, you know, say to yourself, okay, so this is a symptom, but what is it usually a symptom of? And why does that thing that this is a symptom of usually come about? That's what I mean by playing detective with your health this year, to really find out what's the root cause of the stuff that's showing up for you with your health. All right. With that said, stay tuned and let's get into your 12-month tarot breakdown. Hello, you wonderful Life Path 9 person. Let's get into your 12-month tarot breakdown. Before we start, as always, I would like to bless my decks of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity, and abundance. And I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise, and they help you on your path to your highest vibrational good. So let's see what the tarot has in store for you for 2024, right? So you get one destiny card, one direction card per month, you know, for the breakdown. You guys are seasoned vets at this, you know how it all works. But remember, your first card out, it kind of typifies the year, right? What that means is it gives you a heads up of what this whole year is kind of going to be about for you. What is going to be important, what's going to be a trend, what's going to be a theme, all of that good stuff. So this year for 2024, you have the High Priestess. So this is going to be a year of revelations. This is going to be a year where your own intuition starts to really guide you and really speak to you in deep and powerful ways. This is, you know, you haven't even had to get the Hermit card. You've gone straight to your own intuition. This is great because it means that you're trusting yourself this year. It means that you're delving really deeply into your own intuitive faculties and you are trusting yourself at that deeper core level. Now, that's the good stuff. The thing that you might need to be aware of is, remember, the High Priestess is, a lot of the time, it's hidden things revealed. So this may very well be a year for a lot of secrets that are shared with you. It might be a year where you yourself feel that there are things that you are ready to share with the world. This might actually be a time where you're saying, you know what, like, this is something about me that nobody knows. So I kind of like this for you because it's almost like a complete revealing of self, right? And whatever, you know, whatever has been happening behind the scenes, etc. For some of you, this might be that you're emerging from behind the scenes, but for others, this could be anything that has been hidden. This year it's going to come to light and it will all make sense. This is where you get those pieces to the puzzle where you can kind of say, okay, now I understand how to proceed. Now, for your clarifying card, you have the 10 of Swords, right? So there's a few things that I want to say about this, but before we get into it, on the second, so as we start the year, Mercury's going to be retrograde, but I know, collective sigh, right? It's going to go direct on the 2nd of January. So yes, we'll have the post-retrograde retrograde shadow, but it's not going to be like the start to 2023 was really hard. We had Mercury retrograde, we had Mars retrograde. It was a really slow, dungy kind of energy. We don't have that this year. And like I said, even though we've got the post-retrograde shadow, it's going to be a much more dynamic start to the year, right? Now, that being said, as if that wasn't enough, Pluto is coming back into the sign of Aquarius on the 21st of January. This is a big, huge deal for all of us in some way, shape or form, right? It's going to flirt around with those first couple of degrees, yet again, 0 and 1 and maybe even 2 degrees. And then at the end of the year in November, it's going to come back in full time. Now, I'm going to be talking about a lot of astrological transits here, so stay tuned, right? Now, you've got the Ten of Swords with this High Priestess. There's a few ways this can show up, and I'm really sorry to say this, but the Ten of Swords does represent a bust up, an argument, but also, even though it's such a challenging card, the beauty of the Ten of Swords is once it's done, right? You can't, the Ten of Swords is kind of as bad as it gets. So it's like literally the only way that you can go from here is upward. The only, nothing else can kind of get in your way here. So that's the beauty of the Ten of Swords. But this with the High Priestess, it does suggest that some piece of information that comes to you now may very well cause, it's like a secret, something comes out and you're like, you know what? I can't sit on that. I can't bite my tongue on that. So there's something that you feel very deeply moved to speak on or to speak out about, right? Now, as we come into February, you have the Judgment card. So this is a grand clearing of the decks. So it kind of feels to me like in order for you to really be able to, move forward in February, this blowout, this bust up, it kind of needs to happen, right? It's the piece of the puzzle that you didn't have that allows you to kind of say, okay, it is what it is, or it was what it was, and now I'm going to move forward, right? The other thing with the Judgment card, remember, this tends to show up for blasts from the past, right? This is where we are clearing the decks of who we've been, what we've been experiencing, and then we're going for something brand new. So in a way, this can actually be quite liberating, but it does represent a sort of crossroads for your life, right? So February is potentially going to be quite a big month as well. With this, you've got the Four of Pentacles. So this is a financial consideration that may take a lot of consideration, and it might be that in some way, shape or form, you are making a financial decision that you kind of feel like is closing a loop in some way. Like you're getting to almost like to start again, if that makes sense. The other thing with the Four of Pentacles, it can be about what we really hold on to. And this with the Judgment card, you're being asked, February is going to be a time where you are very deeply reflective, but you have a chance to really break ties with something heavy from your past. But that Four of Pentacles suggests that you might want to hang on to it. So you're gonna have to find a way to navigate this. Now, as we come into March, we have the first eclipse of the year. On the 25th of March, we've got a full moon lunar eclipse in the sign of Libra. Now, this is the second half to a story that began on October 14th, 2023, right? So what were you starting at that time? What was just coming into prominence? What was the beginning that you were... what was the big beginning that was sort of happening in your life around that time? Because it's likely to be culminating here. Now, that being said, if you want to find out how that speaks to you and your sun, your moon, or your ascendant sign, this year you can get your year ahead taroscopes, astro taroscopes for your astrological signs. They're $7.99 a piece or $49.99 for the bundle. I've created a much smoother experience this year, so you can just literally grab the if you just want your sun, moon and ascendant, you can grab them as upsells, right? So it's nice, simple, streamlined, easy. I figured a way around making it so difficult for you guys, and as always, they are packed full of as much as I can give you without boring you to death. Now, that being said, again, if you want to find out how all of these astrological transits that I'm talking about are going to speak directly to you, you can get those on the link in the description box below. Now, For that month of March, you have the moon card. The moon has been very active for March. I gotta say, it has been, and maybe it's because that eclipse is speaking so loud. This may very well be a month where there's a fair amount of confusion in the air. And so you just want to be really sort of mindful of this. You yourself, it looks like you're having a deeply reflective first quarter of the year, right? So as you come into 2024, you are very much thinking about the past. There's a lot of things that are really sort of rushing through your mind where you really are thinking back to, and it might be that whatever piece of information comes to you in January, it slots in so many, like, you know, when you hear something and you're like, oh my gosh, that's just made everything else that I always wondered about make that much more sense. The moon card is very cyclic. It does represent the past, and with the judgment card very close, it usually represents the deep past. There's potentially something here about your family, your heritage, the people that you were born to. With this, you have the Seven of Cups. Now, March, my dear life path 9, whatever your indulgences or proclivities, March is a time that you really do need to be very careful. If you are a drinker, if you are a smoker, if you like to take, recreationals of any sort, excuse me, if you like to take recreationals of any sort, this may be a time where you really do need to be very careful with that, because the chances are it could really run away with itself. This is a highly escapist energy. And so I'm just saying, whatever your, it might be that your self-sabotaging tendency is to eat too much, For me, it's sugar, right? I tell you, when I was younger, man, how I haven't really done myself some serious damage with sugar, I will never know. And so this is something that you do need to be very mindful of at this time, because the chances are it may come up, it might rear its head in a big sort of way. This is a very sort of, sorry to say, but it's a very shady energy, so be careful. April is, so January, April, May and July seem to be some of the sticky points of this year. March seems to be showing up as one now as well. What I will say, April is a packed astrological month. There's a lot of energy going on around this month. So on the 2nd of April, Mercury goes retrograde in the sign of Aries right the way through until the 25th. On the 8th of April, we have a new moon solar eclipse in the sign of Aries. As if that wasn't enough, on the 18th of April, Jupiter and Uranus are coming into a conjunction in the sign of Taurus. Now that is a once in 14-ish years cycle, right? It happens once every 14 or so years. That's a big deal, right? We're all going to feel this as a collective, absolutely, but on a personal level, of course, right? So what this is saying to you and your sign, you can get that on the link in the description box below. Check it out, right? Now, that being said, for April, you have the Temperance card. So this could be where the turning point sort of sets in, right? This is, it's not really a turning point. The Temperance card is a balance point. So at this point, you could say, right, okay, the first quarter of the year, not been so easy, right? We've just got to call it what it is. But April, when everyone else is running around like a headless chicken, things seem to start to improve for you. With this, you've got the 9 of Cups. So not only is this a time of profound healing for you, but it's also a time of profound freedom. Your spirituality, your inner self, your soul, your personal wisdom is all going to be really working for you. The 9 of Cups is a wish fulfilled. With the Temperance card, the April point of 2024 is the true turning point for those of you that have a life path 9. I actually love this for you because it's kind of like you got all of the gnarly stuff out of the way right at the beginning of the year. All right. Another way this could potentially show up as well, this could be some kind of physical healing, right? So I've got to be honest, for those of you that have been on a rehab journey or anything like that, April represents a true turning point for you. It may, though, unfortunately to say, come after some sort of crisis, okay? That's just for a very specific few of you. Now, for those of you that are or have been on a rehab or a therapeutic process like that, I just want to say I take my hat off to you. I commend you. I think you are so brave, and I really just can't wait to see you keep going and smashing it and thriving, all right? Get out there and be who you were destined to be. Now, in May, Jupiter is leaving the sign of Taurus. Finally, it's coming out of the sign of Taurus, right? I thought it was going to be nicer than it actually was. So there is that. But in all fairness, it might be because I've also had eclipses bouncing back and forth between that energy. Well, we all have. But for me, it's been in a particular part of my chart. Now, for this is coming out of the sign of Taurus into the sign of Gemini. Gemini is about communication, education, skills. It's about learning. It's about communicating with people. It's about local areas, all of that good stuff. Now, this can ramp up as if communication needs any help. It's lightning quick already. But this, I think, is going to take things to a whole new level. I wouldn't be surprised if we see new social media platforms coming out, or the ones that are existing really blow up. Especially things around intellectual property as well is going to become a really big thing. It's going to become a really big conversation over the next 12 months because Jupiter takes about a year to move through each sign. Now, if you want to know how that speaks to your sign, your sun, your moon, or your ascendant, you know what to do. Thank you for allowing me to sell you things from time to time. This is, after all, my business. Okay, so in May, you have the Death card. Endings, completions, culminations. This is where something is coming to a close. It's a release point for a lot of you. And with this, you've got the Three of Pentacles. So this could be for some of you where you decide to let go of a certain type of job, a certain type of business. For some of you, this might be where you decide to stop studying and you kind of say to yourself, you know what, I think I'm done learning. I think I've done enough of that. It's where you're being really honest with yourself to kind of say, I think I've learned enough in this area of my life. For some of you, you know, I touch wood, I hope it's not the case, but for some of you, you might say to yourself, you know what, I think I've got enough out of this course and it's time to move on. So some of you could potentially be leaving university or school or whatever the case might be. Another way this potentially shows up for you, this could be where you stop ignoring or taking advice from people based on how you feel about them, right? And what I mean by this is someone might give you some really good advice in May and you're like, well, your life's a mess, so why would I take this from you? And it almost switches, like you kind of say to yourself, you know what, who cares whether I like this person or not? If they're chatting sense, they're chatting sense, and I'm going to take it. For June, you have the Fool card. New things, new places, new people, new energies are coming into your life. This is a change of pretty much everything at this point, and it comes up with the Six of Pentacles. This is where some kind of financial blessing or assistance comes in. It could also be a change point when it comes to your finances and your resources. I will say as well, the Six of Pentacles does have a benefactor kind of energy about it. So I wouldn't be surprised if in June, a benefactor or some kind of supporter comes in for you and kind of says, look, you know what, I want to support you in this way, or I want to work with you or collaborate with you. For those of you that are in businesses already, this could bode very, very well. For July, you have the Justice card, right? This is new contracts, new commitments coming in. When you're signing on the dotted line, you're starting to really think about what and who you're committed to and how you're committed to it. You've got this with the Judgment card. So we've seen the Judgment card before in February. This will be around a property matter, right? And look, whatever's happening with a property matter in February, you're likely to be resolving it or clearing it up here in July. Now, July is already a bit of a shaky month. And so this does suggest for a select few of you as well, because the Judgment card is the deep past. This might be an old contract comes up for review, but it could just as easily be that you are maybe reconnecting with someone from your past or recommitting to something from your past. Remember though, the Judgment card is also the grand clearing of the decks, and I wonder if this is you really committed to making some kind of big change in your life, because this This is what we call a crossroads. So July might represent a moment for you where you're like, there's no way around this. I just have to go through it. In August, excuse me, excuse me. In August, you have Mercury will go retrograde in the sign of Leo, the sign of celebrity, the sign of kings and queens and all that sort of stuff. Be interesting to see how that goes, especially because last year we had the Venus retrograde, right, in Leo. Now for this, we have the Strength card, right? The Strength card in the time of Leo. This is where you have to muster your courage and your strength to make a move that it's not that you've been putting it off. It feels more to me like this is a move that you know is going to ruffle some feathers. And, you know, to make this move, it's almost like a declaration of, you know, I don't give a shit what you think. And sometimes when you do that, you do come up against a little bit of resistance, but you've got the guts and the strength to go for it. Remember, the 9 energy is ruled by Mars. So you guys, when you need to, like, that's the thing about life path 9 people, or people with a heavy emphasis of the number 9 in their numbers. They're really kind, they're really humanitarian, they're really warm, but you mess with them and you will see another side that you're like, damn, like you know, as deeply and as loving and as kind as they are, is as deadly and as ruthless and quite frankly selfish as they can be as well. All right, so if you're a cross watcher, you've been warned. To clarify on this, you've got the Hierophant card. Wow. Okay, so if you're single, you may have come into contact with somebody, you might be talking to somebody, and this does suggest that potentially you're committing to this person in marriage for a select few of you, right? For others, let's say you've had a relationship maybe that came to an end or whatever, you could be getting back with somebody that you were in a relationship with previously. That Strength card does suggest that you're coming up against some kind of challenge here. Maybe a friend or a family member says, no, you're not dating them again, you know, for this number of reasons, blah, 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 blah. And you're just like, well, it's my life. I'm going to make my choice. This works for me. Now, another way this could show up, because this is about bigger or larger institutions, governing bodies. For some of you, you might embark on a journey of some sort that has a very physical element to it. So maybe you start going through some kind of course of chiropractic or osteopathic medicine. Maybe you, you know, gosh, I'm just trying to think. Maybe you go in for cosmetic surgery. That's very possible for a few of you as well. There's something here though where whatever you're doing, it does take a lot of guts because you're going against the grain. All right, so it'll be interesting to see how it shows up. Now, September, we have a full moon lunar eclipse in the sign of Pisces, but it's a north node eclipse. Now, because this is kicking off the eclipse cycle within that axis of Pisces and Virgo, this is a big deal. This one is kind of, even though it's a full moon eclipse, which is a grand completion, because of that north node energy, I do feel like this is showing us what the next 18 months or this cycle of eclipses in Virgo and Pisces is actually going to be about for us. So, you know, again, you know what to do. For this, you've got the Hierophant card again. So commitments, right? Big commitments to larger institutions, but also to things like the institution of marriage are coming up here. For some of you, this may be whatever course of study you ended in May, you find a new vocation in August and September. You go in a direction that feels right to you. There might be a lot of red tape. You might be doing something that's never been done before, let alone by you, but just in general. And so you're having to make up the rules as you go, or you're having to at least have a hand in writing the rules as you go. To clarify on this, you've got the Empress card. So that's a change of location. September, you are looking at a new home, a new place to live. I mean, look, the Hierophant and the Empress, it's usually somewhere that's quite rural, and the home that you move into is potentially a converted barn, you know, an old church, something like that. It's like an old piece of architecture that's made new, and wherever you're living at this point, it really is a place of absolute beauty. but it's just very different to what you have now. So that could be really nice. Now, for those of you that aren't moving or changing location, this could be about a business idea or endeavor, or it could be that you are connecting with a really important or powerful woman who really helps or supports you in some way, shape or form. Now, as we come into October, we've got the final eclipse in the sign of Libra. That is on the 2nd of October. For this, you have the Empress again. Wow. So double hit of the Empress, double hit of the Hierophant card. Big changes to the environment, big changes to your work, big changes to the structure of the societies that you are attached to. To clarify on this, you've got the Magician card, right? With the Empress. I mean, look, whoever you are connecting to, this powerful woman, and she is a powerful woman, somebody that's either very well known, somebody that's very powerful, got a lot of connections. This person is really helping you get ahead in some way, shape or form. This person is a big supporter of you or has a lot of, respect for you. This is somebody that really likes you and who you are. This is a support. Now, for you personally, that Magician card with the Empress, this is where whatever changes, cosmetic stuffs and whatnot going on that you were doing, remember that is a Mercury retrograde month though. So August maybe you're making the decisions, but not necessarily going ahead with it then. But whatever aesthetic changes you make to both yourself and your home or your business, they absolutely start to make you shine here in October. Come November, Mercury's going to go retrograde on the 25th of November, right through to the 16th of December. That's in Sagittarius this time. And for this, you've got the Chariot card. So some kind of travel. Remember, it's the 25th, so you've got a whole month before that to travel. I love this, right? Travel card, movement. You've got the Chariot with the Emperor. This sort of last quarter of the year, I haven't even looked at December yet, this is the power, right? And remember what I said, that's the turning point. You start the year, it's a little rocky, I've got to say. You get to April, things start to really improve, and then you're just on this massive forward momentum once you get to June. I think May is still a little bit all over the place, but once you get to June, it's just like, it's going to be relentless. All right, so you got to be ready for it. There's a lot of growth and a lot of expansion here. Now, November, the Emperor with the Chariot, not only is this some kind of success, but it's a victory. This could also be that a business that you start, the job that you have, you're stepping into a leadership role and things are really starting to take off for you. If you are out of work and you're not going back to work, etc., this is where you start to really command your space and use the knowledge, the skills and the information that you've gathered over a lifetime to really succeed in some endeavor. And then finally, Mars will go retrograde in December in the sign of Leo, and then we'll reverse back into Cancer. So that Mars retrograde is going to take us right into 2025, unfortunately, but it is what it is, right? For this, you finish the year with the Devil card. You are ruled by Mars as a 9 person. And so it's really important that you use that energy before it uses you. Okay, it's really important that with the 9 energy and the Devil card, this could be either some kind of overindulgence or it could be some kind of addiction or obsession. My feeling is it's probably closer to the latter, right? There could be something that you're obsessed with here that you refuse to let go of, and it might be a workaholic tendency. You might just be like, yeah, I'll get round to that, but this needs to be done first. It's almost like you're working so hard that you just kind of, everything else almost just disappears from what you're looking at. Interesting. So let's look at your key to the year. But before we do that, your challenge months, January through March, right? Those are challenge months. May, challenge month. December, potentially a challenge month. Your power months, April, power month. June, I actually really like, it's a supportive month. July, neutral. August, power month. September, October, November, all power months, right? These are the times where you lean in. Now, your key to the year is the Gate 23 and Assimilate. This is one of my favorite cards in the Human Design Oracle deck. And the message behind this card is, have the big vision, goal, and dream. The 8-year demands that you do that anyway. But this card is about building the steps that it's going to take to get that dream into the reality. So this year, that's what this is all about. It's about figuring out how to make something tangible and real. Now, if you haven't seen it, there is a playlist on my YouTube channel. It's completely free that will show you how to calculate your personal year number. And then you can watch your corresponding video for your personal year. I've created this as like a mini ecosystem so that you can use all of these things to really get the most out of your year ahead, right? So check your personal year vibration, then you come back to this and you have a look at all the months and the nitty gritty and the details. With that said, come back every month, every 3 months, every 6 months. I love it when you do. It's great seeing you guys in the comments. With that said, I wish you an abundance of all of that good stuff. Have a fantastic month. Let me know in the comments how it shapes up. Take care, and I'll see you soon.